evening. My name is Kenneth Preston. I am a 19-year-old Broward student who has conducted a month-long investigation into the conduct of the school board and superintendent prior to the shooting at Stoneman. The findings of the investigation were twofold. First, there were over $100 million in funds allocated specifically for Broward schools in 2014. Since that time, only 5% of those funds have been spent. In addition, we looked at a number of discipline reform programs, as well as a behavior intervention program and promise program that allow potentially dangerous students to be in traditional public schools. Now, I had intended to talk about the investigation today. The problem is that my remarks will be a little different than originally intended. You see, certain members of this board and the superintendent have tried every means possible to subvert our message. For weeks, we have had additional speakers scheduled. Just an hour ago, I received word that all of our 7 additional speakers would be cut and that my time would be cut in half from the original 6 minutes that I was relinquished. A board and superintendent who insist on their commitment to transparency have decided to deny the voice to survivors and families of victims who intended to speak tonight. There is no surprise after the fiasco I was involved in yesterday, though. Yesterday, it was requested that I meet with the superintendent and families of victims to discuss my report. When I arrived, I was denied the right to have an attorney present. I was refused the opportunity to record the meeting, and I was told that this was because the superintendent wouldn't have any representation of his own. When I arrived, the meeting was stacked with 10 district officials, in addition to the superintendent. We spoke for a total of 2 hours. You can call me a skeptic, but I have a hard time believing that a superintendent and 10 district officials who represent 327 schools, 15,000 teachers, and 270,000 students had the time to meet with a 19-year-old for 2 hours in a meeting if they didn't believe I was holding on to something crucial. It makes me wonder how committed to transparency and the truth you are when I was denied the right to have an attorney present, as well as the opportunity to record the meeting, while the superintendent was allowed to bring 10 district officials who worked for him in an attempt to re-educate me. Something doesn't smell quite right in Broward, and this school district is the epicenter. Luckily for us, our report will be going live on The Hill and other national media outlets at around 6 p.m. today, and it will be made clear the failures of this school system, and particularly the superintendent, in protecting our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. Sorry, at the very beginning, I neglected to mention we don't applaud, we don't have placards, make noise things either. So if we could contain ourselves a little bit. The next up, we have Joe Major.